Welcome to the Value Proposition by the Fitness Business Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Pellegrino. The Value Proposition is a monthly show on the Fitness Business Podcast created specifically for industry suppliers to showcase the value that they bring to health club owners and operators beyond their product or service. Over the past 2 years, our global fitness industry has been affected by the pandemic in unimaginable ways. I've seen the creation and rise of certain alliances grow to impactful levels. Alliance leaders rallying together to help their states, provinces, countries, speaking to news outlets, and being a place that health club owners and operators can be part of to seek advice and hope. It is my hope that this episode creates awareness for alliances and associations around the globe, and that owners and operators who are not yet involved in their respective alliance can see the true value and benefit of linking up with the industry's best and bravest to better their businesses and ultimately our fitness industry. For our February 2022 episode, I'll be speaking with 4 guests. Gale Landers, founder and CEO of Fitness Formula Clubs, 10 locations in Chicago, and chairman for the National Health and Fitness Alliance. Nathalie Lacombe, vice president of Fitness Industry Council of Canada and advisory panel member of CanFit Pro. Jeff Sanders, board chair of the New York State Fitness Alliance and EVP of Sales and Growth Strategies for Energy Fitness. And last but not least, Ed Eickoff, treasurer for the Michigan Fitness Club Association and executive VP of real estate for Planet Fitness Michigan Group. Joining us first today is Gale Landers. Gale, go ahead and tell the FBP family about the mission of the NHFA.
Sure, thanks, Sarah. Thanks for having me. We're excited about what the NHFA is doing across the country. Really, the intent is to build a national powerhouse for advocacy. As we found out when COVID hit, while IHRSA had a great track record of handling state billing situations that came up and bills that we wanted defeated, we really didn't have a strong voice in Washington, D.C. So the NHFA was born out of a headlight committee that Brent Darden, the interim CEO for IHRSA, put together. And through a series of meetings and so on, about a year ago, I was asked to chair the National Health and Fitness Alliance. So what we're doing is creating a strong lobbying force in Washington, D.C., as well as helping at state capitals. We're working on public relations initiatives, especially communicating to Congress on Capitol Hill. And we're involved with fundraising through the IHRSA PAC to help give us a war chest as we go forward on advocacy for the industry.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for that background. And can you explain a little bit how the NHFA is related to and works with IHRSA, the Global Health and Fitness Association?
Sure. Yeah, it really was, it's really an authorized entity, an arm, if you will, of IHRSA. As I was mentioning, it came out of this headlight committee when COVID happened, 2020. When we realized that, hey, we've got to have a voice here. So the old saying is you're either at the table or you're on the table. And so we clearly realized we were on the table and did not have any kind of an advocacy voice like the Restaurant Association, airline industry, and others. So that was really the genesis of it. And the driving force behind it as the NHFA was put together has really been the GYMS Act. So finding federal relief for our industry at large. And so the GYMS Act has really propelled us, if you will, to give us a voice in Washington, D.C., with a number of congressmen and women who have signed on as supporters for the GYMS Act. It's a bipartisan initiative that's really got us at the table as opposed to on the table.
Love to hear that. That's very important. Now, Gale, in the past, let's say 2 years, right, our industry, as we all know, has definitely been affected by the global pandemic. Do you have any statistics on just how much the industry has been affected to date?
Yes. Thanks to our good friend Rick Caro, who works with IHRSA in terms of digging up data, very reliable data, I might say, because the data comes from our billing companies. There's a good, 9, 10, 12 of them across the industry that do all the billing for the entire industry, regardless of what type of fitness facility they are. And to date, we are now at 25% of the entire industry is completely permanently closed as of December 31st of last year. So that's just 6 weeks ago. But that was data that was pulled. If they're not being billed, that means they've been terminated. So the industry in March of 2020 had over 57,500 and some fitness facilities. And it's now down to 43,000, slightly over 43,000, about 43,050. So it's a whopping 25% drop. It's 18% of the clubs and 30% of the studios, which have closed. We project that the number of jobs that have been lost is in excess of 1.5 million. About 1,580,000 jobs have been lost to date. So it's a dramatic impact, and it's really impacted the ability, as we've gone on, the ability to restaff in terms of how this has impacted everybody's interest going forward as they came out of the pandemic.
Well, those are powerful figures, my friend. My goodness, that is why we're here. That's why we want to bring awareness to organizations like the NHFA, like our state alliances. So thank you to Rick for those figures. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I do, obviously hope that we're on the rise here, right? Coming back stronger than ever. But no, that is such an impact. Oh my goodness. So Gale, when it comes to advocacy in Washington, D.C., how is the NHFA supporting our industry currently?
The big thing is getting federal relief at this point. So it's really critical that the industry gets federal relief at this juncture of our history. So there are still facilities that are hanging on by a threshold, and finding a pathway to get some financial help is critical. That's the big thing. And the fact that we have 162 U.S. House of Representatives who have signed on and 30 senators speaks really loudly. So that initiative has been going on now for over a year. I know when we started in Illinois, we had 18 U.S. House of Representatives. 16 of them have signed on in support. And then Mike Quigley, who's one of those representatives from Illinois, agreed to be the lead sponsor in the House for the GYMS Act. So he's been terrific to work with and has been working both sides of the aisle and various committees in Washington to get support around this. And so we're really optimistic. Nothing's certain, but the continuing resolution was just extended into early March. And we are hopeful that we will be on the omnibus bill that comes up here in the next few weeks as part of the multi-bill package that will be voted on. So we're continuing to lobby. There's virtual lobbying and fly-in virtual meetings literally this week again with various senators and Senate staffs in Washington, D.C. So we're optimistic. We've got their attention.
That is so exciting. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for that update. And Gale, how will the NHFA plan to work with these state alliances that we see popping up?
Well, a couple things. First of all, we have an initiative that's just begun called Project 435. And Kevin McHugh, who's part of our NHFA Council, is spearheading this. He's with the Atlanta Club. And Project 435, that represents 435 congressional districts throughout the United States. So there's 435 U.S. House reps. And our intent and this initiative is to have a captain, if you will, so to speak, in every single congressional district across the country. So this has just started in the last couple of weeks in terms of the strategy of how we're putting this together. Initially, we're working with the state alliances who already have some framework and network within their various states. But we're going to push this forward so that we can literally develop an army across the country of advocacy. So when something comes up, we have people ready to go, and they're armed with how to approach, the congressional people in both their congressional district as well as the senators. So we're excited about that. Second thing is funding. Naturally, this takes some money. So the IHRSA PAC is rolling out now to its next generation, if you will. And we're going to be doing some fundraising for people to be able to participate and help give us some firepower, because it does take some funds.
Well, that is amazing. And I'm assuming these funds, I'm assuming you're taking donations, things of that nature. Is that correct?
Yes. The way it works in general is that an IHRSA member and some affiliates of IHRSA, whether they be vendors and the like, can contribute up to $5,000 a year. So they weren't on a cycle, but any amount, up to $5,000 can be contributed directly from individuals. So that has begun.
Well, that's great, Gale. Thank you so much for diving into that. And, last but not least, if a club owner or operator is listening to this today and wants to know how to best support the NHFA and your efforts going forward, what would you tell them?
Well, two things. I mentioned the IHRSA PAC before, but IHRSA has reconfigured its membership. So currently, there's 3 different ways that people can be members. Current members can either continue as they were, or they can break it down into basic, standard, premium. And the difference is the amount of dollars that go towards advocacy. So premium is the membership where 75% of the membership dues go towards advocacy initiatives. And so a large percentage of the membership is moving in that direction. And it really kind of emulates that IHRSA is moving from a educational and trade show organization to an advocacy organization under the direction of Liz Clark, the new CEO. So you've probably heard about Liz in the past, but she just joined us in the last few months, and she lives in the DC area and has spent a tremendous amount of her career right there and knows the halls of Capitol Hill very well, and knows how advocacy works, and is really at the point of this on a day-to-day basis. So we're excited about what's happening. But the council members, the people in the NHFA council, are a highly committed group. We meet every 2 to 3 weeks, and we've met in Washington, D.C. on a live basis, as well as at conventions. And we're excited about it. We think there's a huge opportunity here. Because after all, sir, this is the best industry in the world. We do the most for people in terms of their preventative health procedures, and we know what it does in terms of preventing various types of diseases and the like. There's nothing like having an active lifestyle.
There really is nothing better, and I couldn't agree more. It's such a wonderful industry. And Gale, thank you so much for joining me today to share the mission and the latest updates of the NHFA.
My pleasure, Sarah. All the best to you.
Joining us next is Nathalie Lacombe. Nathalie, welcome to the Value Proposition.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. I'm so thankful you're able to join us today. I love seeing the hard work and time that you dedicate to the Fitness Industry Council of Canada. It is my hope that our Canadian FBP family will hear you today and join your amazing cause. So, Nathalie, start us off and give us a quick overview of FIC.
Thank you so much. The Fitness Industry Council of Canada has been around since 2006, has done tremendous work relating to supporting the fitness facilities in Canada, lobbying efforts, PR efforts, etc. But of course, as 2020 was a very different year for us, we became much more prevalent in terms of our discussions with decision makers in the government, our discussions relating to club openings, our discussions and relating to how we support all fitness companies and fitness businesses across Canada, all the facilities that are included there, and their 6 million members when it comes to that. And so it's been a phenomenal couple of years in which we've grown tremendously, specifically thanks to the inauguration of provincial coalitions across Canada, because some decisions are made federally, some decisions are made provincially, and so we wanted to have people in place and incredible leaders that fought so hard, volunteered and fought so hard to keep us alive and going and serving the members that need us.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear that you have the provincial alliances too. I know we've chatted with, we will chat with a few state alliances in the US, and it's so nice to see the states and the provinces working at the federal level too. That's amazing. Now, Nathalie, when you've mentioned 6 million members, So about how many facilities does that equal making up the fitness industry in Canada?
So there's about 6,000 fitness facilities across the country. When we do our work, we represent all of them. We have grown our actual members throughout the last couple of years. I want to say right now in mid-February when we're recording this, I want to say right now we have about 700 members that have joined FIC, that are current members of FIC. Our one-year goal is by the end of this year to get to 1,000, and we're growing really, really quickly as the facilities are seeing how the collaborative efforts are necessary and understanding how being part of the solution means being part of the association. It's like your liability insurance for your facility. This is the insurance for our industry. And so we've had the pleasure of growing quite well over the last couple of years and continue to do so in order to serve all forms of facilities. So large corporations, small independent clubs, chains, studios, etc. All of them are included in all of the decisions and the services that we provide for them.
The insurance of our industry. Nathalie, I'm going to quote you on that one.
You can quote Sarah Hodson, who's the president of FIC. That's hers. That's absolutely hers. But yes, that's the way that she positions it, and I love that. Yeah.
Powerful. Really, really powerful.
Yeah.
Now, Nathalie, talk to me about the state of the fitness industry in Canada currently. Are certain provinces beginning to open back up, or are you still seeing a lot of restrictions?
I'm so glad that you asked the question and that we're recording this week, because I have good news. As of Monday, as of 3 days ago, from coast to coast, we are reopened in Canada. So Quebec was the last province to reopen after the closures that we had back in December. So we are now absolutely open in different ways. So most of them are still at 50% capacity. Some of them are switching to 100%. Some of them, there's a lot of things happening as it relates to the vaccine passports and masks and everything else. So we are in a reopening phase, but everybody is at least open at 50% capacity.
Great news.
Yes. Yeah.
What perfect timing we have, Nathalie.
Right. It was a very extra loving and sweet Valentine's Day that we could finally say that on February 14th. We could show our love to our members and one another by working out coast to coast in all of our facilities.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Now, Nathalie, FIC is the voice of the fitness facility operators across Canada. So what are some ways you are using this voice today? That can be COVID related or non-COVID related.
And thank you for asking it that way, because there's the crisis mode, and the crisis mode was making sure that our facilities were open, and then making sure that we are positioned in a way that our reputation is improved. I think a lot of us have struggled with the realization of how we are seen by decision makers, but seen by politicians, seen by public health authorities, and seen by the general public. But the wake-up call of that might have been really necessary for our industry. The fact that we only serve 15% of the population makes it really tough for us to say that we are critical, that we are, even going towards the concepts of being essential or anything like that. So our focus is showing public health officials and the general public, because there's as much lobbying as there's PR when it comes to this, because they're the ones that vote and they're the ones that put the decision makers in place, that we are part of the solution. That our reputation is one in which the support we provide the general population in terms of having qualified health professionals support them in their physical health goals, mental health goals, immune health goals, social health goals, all of that is supported in our facilities. We are key to preventative health, and that's a huge part of what we've been doing over the past 2 years, which is, that's just the beginning. Till most of us retire, the work will continue to be needed, and to be seen as a place of health, to be seen as a key partner in preventative health. So amplifying the impact that we've gained, we are so much more collaborative now. The competitive nature of the industry has taken a backside to us understanding how the survival of the industry and the work of our incredible professionals and the health that we provide members was really critical. We are continuing the work to prevent our bottom line. We are continuing to find phenomenal affinity partnerships with leaders in the industry that can help move all of this forward. We are determined to continue to solve the labor shortage issue that is in Canada, because it was a hard hit because we were closed for so long. And so that is the focus that we're doing. And we're doing that by growing our membership and doing that by continuing the work that we're doing in public relations and in government relations, in helping our members continue to thrive now that we are reopened.
Safe to say you've been busy.
We've been busy, and we've and we've been busy, and that's the thing. I mean, people are closed, and we are a passionate, like, if you'll close our doors, and we are not good at twiddling our thumbs, and we've got ants in our pants, and we are healthy, and we will outlive anything that keeps us down because we are determined, and we have the energy of people who exercise. And so, yeah, we've been busy, and we will continue to do so, thanks to the incredible provincial council members, our members at large, as well as the board of directors of FIC.
So speaking of energy, in my own research of the Fitness Industry Council of Canada, I have seen that you all have started a very engaging social media campaign. So I'd love for you to tell me more about that.
Thank you. It's interesting to see how there's a combination of what we do, like behind the scenes for some of the government relations stuff that's critical in terms of the support that we have for rent and wage subsidies and all of these things. And then there's the stuff on social media that's a little bit more engaging to the general public and light. So two campaigns that have been quite powerful in the last few months. One was one called Save Your Health, and it is one in which we associated exercising in a fitness facility, thanks to the support that you have there, to essentially moving your way towards health versus moving your way towards stuff we've heard a lot about the last couple of years, hospitalizations, ICUs, etc. And so we focused a lot on that, and it was essentially hire a professional, work within a facility, save your health, in order to reduce those risk factors and reduce the comorbidity that we've heard so much over the last couple of years. The other one that's been super fun, which was really to try and, I think, give this big expression of love to the members that kept telling us they're missing us so much, was one in which we tagged our fitness facilities, essentially said, like, who's your favorite workout buddy? Tag them. Who's your favorite trainer, coach, instructor? Tag them. Remind them why you miss them. Remind them when you come back. Oh, and by the way, also tag the decision makers in public health to let them know how fitness is important to you. And so that was one that did really, really well. And I think for the fit pros that we hired, gave them a little bit of a little boost, reminding them that we're there for them, reminding them that we take care of them, because it is the facilities as well as the thousands and thousands of incredible fitness leaders that we hire that are important. And that show of love, because when you take something away from people, it tends to remind us that we don't want to take it for granted. And so that's all we've heard from our members and from our suppliers and from our partners and from our fitness pros. So it was a nice opportunity to reconnect all of that, especially as we got towards opening. It made everybody absolutely crave coming back, which was fantastic.
Yeah, it created some very good momentum, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. That's so great. Nathalie, where do you see the focus and or goals of FIC 1 year from today? And then how do those shift 5 years from today? What do you think this looks like?
So we've got some lofty goals. We've got, as I mentioned, the membership goal of having 1,000 members before the end of 2022. That goal is 10,000 members in the next 5 years, because that's how we roll, because we want to really actually completely represent the entire industry and be able to say that we are locked arm in arms in the beautiful reputation that our industry has in supporting the health goals of our general population and of our communities. A big part of it is also understanding how physical activity plays a key role in health in general. So we've got tax credit objectives that we're working on when people actually engage in physical activity, that they are rewarded for that, because we understand that there's an absolute direct relationship between the healthcare costs and participation in physical activity. And then continuing to grow the impact of and amplify the impact of our industry at large, working with partners that are within fitness facilities, outside of fitness facilities, understanding how the education providers in fitness are key partners of ours, and we've got some phenomenal ones that we work with regularly. So continuing to grow that so that the reputation of fitness builds to a place that is actually representative of what we do. Actually representative of what we do is what we absolutely are determined to do in the next year, and continue to do that moving forward.
That's amazing. That is such a powerful statement and such an incredible goal. I love it. So what can a member of FIC expect from, what are the benefits, and then what can they expect to give in return to the FIC, Nathalie?
I appreciate that. So the benefits really are many, but certainly understanding what's being done provincially, understanding what's being done federally. So we have regular calls, continual emails, and continual services that we provide our members. We, with thanks to the work that we do with our partners, including a lot of the listeners that you have, provide them with discounts and access and all kinds of things so that they can better their own business. We take care of a lot of the things behind the scenes for them so they can focus on serving members and not have to worry about those things. So they are absolutely in the know. They are partners with people that they can ask those questions. You know, the things that you're like, I would love to know how my competitor does this. Well, maybe it's not your competitor down the street, but it could be a collaborator 2 provinces away. So that networking that we're able to do helps us get to where we go so much faster. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Really, who we are as an industry is representative in that way. So we can build the trust with the general public and keep supporting one another to understand that we want that 85% that doesn't come to come. So the members can benefit from all of those things when they join FIC. What we ask in return is that they participate. What we ask in return is that they join the exclusive Facebook groups that they have there, that they answer the questions of their colleagues either within the same province or a province away. When people are looking for resources, that they support one another, that contribution and collaboration to better the industry at large, because we are only as good as how we can keep rising the cream to the top. I got lost in my analogy there, but you know what I mean. And so rising the entire industry up to the place where we want it to be, we will do that together. So that's the expectation, is that they join the calls when they can, they listen to them when they can't join them live, and that's okay. They participate when they can. They become an active member of the industry. And so beyond their walls, really how the industry is seen at large, because when the decisions are made, they're not made by individual facility. They're made for the industry at large, provincially and federally. So we all benefit from those contributions and those collaborations that we do together.
Well, Nathalie, you've sold me, and I don't even live in Canada. So.
I still want a lot of people to move to Canada. Maybe it's a little chilly, but you can handle it. I feel like, Sarah, you can handle it.
Awesome. That is so great. I think, the past 2 years, let's say, Nathalie, have been so challenging, but one of the best things has really and truly been seeing everyone in the fitness industry joining together, right? You're learning from your competitors, you're helping your competitors, just working as an industry together toward one goal. So
yeah, to understand that, really, I understand the concept of competition, of course, but really we're competing with sedentary living.
Yeah.
That's what we're competing with. And so we can do that so much more powerfully the more we work together. And it's been fun. It's kept us, talk about our mental health and the struggles. It's kept our mental and social health so much more engaged. The fact that we had these times and these calls and we would see one another, and it's made a massive impact on those of us that are a part of it. I'm really grateful for everything that FIC has done for the industry the past couple of years.
That's so wonderful. Nathalie, if someone is listening today and wants to get involved, where should we send them?
So they can absolutely go to the FIC website, Fitness Industry Council of Canada website. They can reach out to me personally, Nathalie at nathalielacombe.com. They can find FIC on social media. FICDN is the handle on social media, and reach out to any of us in either language, en français aussi, pour les Canadiens. So they can reach out to us in either official language of the country, and we will absolutely connect with them and help them get on board.
Awesome. Well, Nathalie, thank you so much for joining me today on the value proposition.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Joining us live from the great state of New York is Jeff Sanders, representing the New York State Fitness Alliance. Jeff, welcome back to the Value Proposition.
It's so good to be back, not just being here, but then listening to all of the fun things you guys are covering are so important, and just honored to be able to contribute and be a part of it.
Oh, I so appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Now, Jeff, since we last spoke, you've been a little busy, right? Safe to say.
A little bit, yeah.
Start us off by sharing with our listeners how and when the New York Fitness Alliance came to be.
So the New York Fitness Alliance came to be when COVID, we were probably a couple months in being shut down here. And there's a group of people, operators who they've come in and they wanted to come together and join to be a part of the New York Fitness Alliance, and really some kind of an association or alliance that would best represent our industry to the state officials. So it happened all the way back in the middle of shutdown, and several people came together and we just said, what can we do? We need to join. We created the organization, created the board, hired a lobbyist, raised some funds, and really just started working hard to be the voice for our industry, because there wasn't one at the state level at that time.
Absolutely. That's definitely been the theme, what we're hearing with these, right? If there wasn't something already in place, it came to be for that reason. That's great. Now, Jeff, how many health club operators or fitness professionals, however you want to answer this, are part of the NYFA to date?
Yeah, so we communicate regularly with about 2,500, 2,700 operators throughout the state, keeping them updated on what's going on, what do we need their help with, what's the latest call with their lobbying team. I mean, look, we've been able to get a lot accomplished through the lobbying team and through our operators. We got a state grant for up to $50,000 that it did not include our industry operators because of some parameters, and we were able to get those parameters extended to include them. So we really communicate on a regular basis with about 2,700 operators, and we're growing every day. I mean, people are still learning and hearing about us on a regular basis.
That's why we're here. We're going to get you more members.
I hope so. Yes, absolutely. We want to represent as many people. We just want them to know that there's people out there fighting for them. It's hard. It's hard when you're an operator and you have 1, 2, or even 3 locations. It doesn't matter what size it is, 400 square feet, 40,000 square feet. When you're at that level and you think your voice is not being heard, and you're watching the news and you're watching mandates and you're screaming like, oh my God, stop. What are you doing to our company, our business? But to finally hear there's somebody that is fighting on your behalf and trying to represent your voice. And so, yeah, everything we can do to get that out, we're happy to do. And this is amazing. I'm so happy you reached out to us for this.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. Now, Jeff, what is the main goal of the New York Fitness Alliance currently?
So currently, our job as New York Fitness Alliance is to represent to give our industry the strongest voice possible. So we're here to unite and bring every operator, regardless of size, background, single location, multi-location, franchise, non-franchise. We want to unify our industry in this state, and then we want to be able to represent everyone's voice at a state level on all of our advocacy, we're fighting for relief. We're fighting against, things that are going through legislation that directly affect our industry. And then PR, we're working really hard to get the message out and to partner with people that we are here to represent you and represent, and that fitness is great. And the state wants to say it. Fitness is important. So that's really what we're doing. The short version is we want to unify, create a stronger unified voice, and then do that, through every aspect we can.
Giving the industry a voice. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's fantastic. Now, I'm assuming, that you want the Alliance to survive past our COVID days. So what are some long-term goals of the New York Fitness Alliance?
It's so timely that you're asking that question, because here's the reality. What we're learning in our state, as we're talking with the Department of Health, the Empire State Development, and as we're communicating on the mandates and masks, as we're bringing up, they're like, look, guys, that is what it is. We're doing the best we can. There's not a whole lot that's going to change on that granular level, but we want to have a longer discussion with you on what is the future of fitness, which is what our ultimate goal is. So it's not just surviving past COVID. For as long as we can think of for going forward out, we need our industry to have a voice on everything. How does the state represent fitness, exercise? A couple of great examples. They ran a massive campaign in New York City years ago on fake sugar and the impact it has and the health it has. They have now agreed they want to run a massive campaign on the importance of exercise and fitness. So we're already thinking beyond where are we going from here. We started that today. We're already in the works of that, and relief. It's not just relief temporary, but how do we start building in something? We're working on a plan that we're propositioning to where there's tax incentives for New York State people to go and work out if they can provide a gym membership proof what they've done, how many times they've gone in. Is there a tax credit we can get applied to them here in the state? What is it creatively we can do to partner? And then I think the last thing that's really important, every year things get brought up from a state level and officials that are wanting to, either ban things or create laws, or let's change, hey, if someone signs up, even if they commit to a 12-year contract, we're going to make it illegal to enforce a 12-month contract rather. We're going to make it illegal to enforce that, or we're going to give out. So those are the types of things that they're saying that in generalities, but they impact our industry. And if our industry doesn't have a voice to say, hey, hold on a second, that generality, and you may be doing this for a different reason, it actually negatively impacts a massive industry. We need to reword it or rethink it. So that's long-term where we're going to be going, is making sure that on a monthly, daily, annually level, we're really fighting for our industry in every way possible.
That is so cool to hear that those long-term goals are already in the works.
The most exciting one I'm really excited about is we pitched an idea to the governor's office about having a wellness fitness advisory council. We spoke to them last October, November, and they were extremely receptive to it. And let's put some people from our industry, let's put some medical professionals, let's put some high profile people all on a council, and let's give the governor, whoever that may be, whomever in the future, they have a council like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. How does it affect the fitness and wellness of our state? Let me get some impact and some information before I know what it's going to do, so we can actually make decisions that are informed versus assumed. Like there's a lot of decisions made from assumptive information and assumptions rather than this is the actual data and information.
Incredibly powerful. That's awesome. That is so cool to hear. Now, Jeff, in your opinion, what is the value of someone joining their state alliance?
The value is so much more than what we could probably even cover in a short time here. I'll say this. The state alliance associations, the alliances, the nonprofit setup, they need your voice. If you're not joining and being a part of it and being active and communicating, they don't know how to represent you. You're in the state. They're going to be representing you in some form or fashion. It's important to hear your voice. A great example. So when we first formed our board, out of just the network that was available, they tended to all be big box clubs. Those were who jumped on. That's who participated. They put it together. We had one representation, Paula, who represented Orange Theories, and that was it. In growing and realizing that we then did not have the voice of the small boutique space as much as we had the other voice, we intentionally reached out and said, hey, we got to bring someone on from that has the heartbeat and pulse of that, because we're not hearing the voice and we're not representing it. So you, the people in the state, you want to participate so they can best represent your voice. And that goes for vendors and operators. I mean, we pulled on a vendor representative on our board who has an amazing, Sal Pellegrino, amazing reputation in the industry. Yes. And probably one of the best decisions we ever made. We were so happy when he jumped on, but again, he then can speak to us on what is the vendor's voice in these conversations. So you have to participate, or you're going to sit there wondering, how come, this isn't working for me and my voice isn't being heard? Well, because you're not participating in that, and they need you to support it. You can't get lobbyists, you can't get PR teams, you can't get any of that if there's not a financial investment. And we're so good at operators at investing in so many things, and marketing and the newest equipment, and I'm going to do this and hope I get 100 new members, but we don't think about the importance of investing in something that actually is fighting on our behalf at a level that we don't see. And we don't think it impacts us until something massive hits, and all of a sudden we're shut down and we're like, man, I wish we had done something about this. You do that by participating and by financially supporting.
So I have to give you props, because this is a vendor podcast. So thank you so much for including a vendor. And yes,
listen,
They know so much. They talk to so many owners. It's not just one brand represented. And the wealth of knowledge that our vendors are carrying around, the fact that you're listening to that and opening your board and your alliance and saying, help, what are we missing here? I mean, it's just another set of eyes, and it's just going to make your alliance that much stronger. So
listen, the vendors, they've been hit just as hard, and people aren't thinking about that. They're not thinking about, and so they need a voice in this, and they need to participate in this, because this is what gets operators operating again, operators functioning again, and it gets vendors functioning at a different level. And I think sometimes from an operator standpoint, even from a board, before we really got a good perspective on vendors, we were like, we need to ask vendors that financially support it. Listen, they got hit, they got budgets, they're trying to make it work too. So vendors, you have to participate, be active, ask if they have a vendor slot available in your state alliance. I'm sure they'd love to bring you on, and then help figure out how do we effectively approach vendors for financial support and non-financial support. And sometimes it's the non-financial support that's the biggest thing we need as alliances. Well, second biggest thing, we have to have funding, but it's extremely important, so you definitely have to participate and be a part of that.
Absolutely. That's so awesome. What a great message, Jeff. Thank you so much. Now, where can someone start, Jeff, if their state does not have an alliance? Because not every state has one, right? We've had conversations with national alliances and things like that. But if you're in a state that doesn't have one, where do you go?
There's two organizations without hesitation I recommend. First and foremost, Rex Roundtables. If you're not participating in that, or you don't know what it is, find it. Find it now. In fact, they were a big key contributor in when we were forming who we were going to be bringing on the board. Eddie, amazing knowledge and network and what we should be doing. So if you don't have an alliance, guess what? Be a part of Rex, because they are already tied into other alliances and they're tied into national efforts. So they can still be a voice and maybe even help you, dare I say, maybe you start the alliance, maybe you work together to create one, because each state needs to have a representation. The second organization, I would say, extremely vital, very important. They do so much behind the scenes that nobody knows what's going on. IHRSA. Join now. Jump in. Find the website. Join. Pick a membership that works for you. Let them. They're advocating not just at a federal level, but they are connected to the state alliance level, and they're connected to other people and advocacy groups within individual states. So if something is happening, you have someone you can reach out to at IHRSA and say, listen, I don't know if you're aware. I just got told this is happening in my state. What can we do about it? They have tools. They have really, really, really neat tech and software that can make an impact with little to no oversight. They set it up and then they can send it and go. So IHRSA is a massive tool and a massive partner that you need to be participating in. So Rex and then IHRSA, start there. IHRSA has an entire state alliance toolkit. So like if you're not in a state and you don't have a state alliance, you can go to their website, you can go to state alliance or state advocacy, you can download a toolkit and literally say, hey, here's how you can start one. And by the way, if you need help, we can help you, let us know. Don't hesitate. You have to be doing one or both of those immediately, because you have to be thinking when it comes to advocacy, what you're doing now isn't impacting tomorrow. What you're doing now is impacting 6 months, a year, 3 years from now. So if it's almost like COVID wrecked New York State. The obesity rate was high, and everyone is, getting into how to fix it. But listen, if you're obese, you can't solve that in a night. You have to solve it by getting started now, so that if something else comes in the future, you're prepared for it, right? If you're more susceptible to that, it's the same thing here in the state alliances. Start now, get something going, even if you don't think it's needed, because in a year or two, you're going to want an established voice that people know. And then like, oh yeah, I know these guys. We've been working for 2 years. We should hear them out, versus starting from scratch and like, oh, who are you? We have no clue. So definitely reach out to IHRSA for their toolkit and see how to get that going. And I'd love to help. Anybody can reach out to me. I'll connect you with whoever we can. Just do something, be Nike, just do it.
I love it.
I don't know if you can say that in here. Maybe you get copyright. I don't know how that works. So, but I just think that we spend so much time talking about things, and I'm guilty of it. I spend so much time with team and leadership stuff, and we're talk. We're We're talking about in our board meeting for NHFA this morning, literally 9 a.m. We're like, sometimes we just need to have action. And so if you just trust me, trust Sarah, trust everyone, just go start doing something right now.
It's so good. And Jeff, you just unlocked so much goodness. So Rex Roundtable, number one. So let's plug your original value proposition episode here. So if you, FBT family, if you missed Jeff and Eddie and the Rex Roundtable team on their own value proposition episode, you can go back. That's Fitness Business Podcast episode 298. Wow, was that a great conversation, right, Jeff?
It was amazing. I loved it. And there's so many good nuggets. You got to hear from such a range of people in the industry, and we get caught up sometimes in thinking that, this is only for newbies. There's people on that podcast that have been doing this at a high level for a very long time. This is for every single person. And that's why I can't stress it's the number one go-to. Don't hesitate. Well, go listen to the podcast right now, and then afterwards contact someone about it, because I'll be glad to give you my beyond what I said in that podcast. I'll be glad to speak to anyone about it. It's that instrumental of a tool that you need. So
true, absolutely. And the second gold nugget that you unlocked in that answer, Jeff, was the mention of IHRSA. That toolkit, I've seen it. I will link it to this show, to the show notes, everything, because you have to check it out. I mean, they have done so much legwork for you already that you really, as you said, you just have to take the action and get it going.
Absolutely.
Jeff, we heard from Gale Landers from the NHFA prior to your conversation, and he brought up a great point. The link between the state alliances and the national alliance, it's huge, right? So you have someone representing you at a national level. You need someone at that state level saying, "Here's our issue. Can you now go fight for us in this way?"
Listen, the reason why state alliances we've found so much effectiveness in what we're doing. When you're at a national level, you're advocating at a national level. You have relationships you're building at a national level. Those are not the same relationships that you build at a state level. They're not. I didn't even know this till I got into it. Lobbying firms specifically are licensed at a state or national or both. And they do that for a reason. It's different connections. It's different networks. So if you're in a state and you're a business owner, guess what? You have power. You have leverage to reach out and make relationships with your state officials and your local, your county executives. Those are the things that the alliance needs. And that's why these state alliances formed. We became more effective because throughout our operating network at a state level, guess what happened? We had more influence. We had more ability to make a change than what was happening at a national level, because we're business owners operating in the state with natural relationships already here. You call the town. Oh yeah, I know the county executive. Oh yeah, I know this. You got five contacts deep, and you're talking to the person that's in charge and making a final decision on something you need help with. That's why the state level and state alliance is so important.
I'm sold. Not even in your state, Jeff. I'm sold. If someone is listening to this episode, Jeff, they either live, work, whatever the case may be, in the state of New York, and they want to join forces with you and your amazing board and members, where can I send them?
I'll do two things. One, the website. It's nyfitnessalliance.org. So www.nyfitnessalliance.org. And then send an email, info@nyfitnessalliance.org. And that comes straight to my inbox. I'm very responsive on that. We have 9 board members. We're all fighting. We represent a variety of different operators. And even if it's little things, I mean, people are getting hung up on the IDL, they're getting hung up in the state grant, and we're getting access to our lobbying team, and they're creating, ways to get around these hangups. So if you're in New York, don't hesitate, reach out to us. You can join as a member, which is free. That's who we communicate with. We represent, we hear back. We're having a state lobbying call coming up. We have Liz Clark coming in from IHRSA coming up to speak to our members coming up as well. And then if you want to financially partner, we do need it. And let me just say that if I can real quick, all state alliances need financial. And look, we know, just like vendors, just like you as operators, we're all hurting. But lobbying teams are working with us in our state and all these state alliances. And it takes some funding to even if it's $5, $10, $50 a month, it doesn't matter. Whatever you can afford, make sure you contribute. So if you want to do that with us on our website, you can go through and join as a member, and then it'll follow up with, would you like to partner with us? And our financial partners are able to contribute. So website, email, whatever you need, I'm here for you, and we love to serve.
Jeff, thank you so much. On behalf of the Fitness Business Podcast family, thank you for everything you are doing for your state and for our industry as a whole. We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Thank you so much. And thank you for what you're doing. This is very important.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
Last but certainly not least, I'd like to welcome Ed Eickoff from the Michigan Fitness Club Association to the Value Proposition. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Sarah. How are you today?
I'm so good. Thank you for joining us today.
You are very welcome. Looking forward to helping out in whatever way I can.
Awesome. Well, we're so glad to have you here, and I'd love for you to start with sharing with our FBP family why and when the Michigan Fitness Club Association began.
The Michigan Fitness Club Association began at the beginning of the COVID crisis around March of 2020. We, interestingly, I've only worked for Planet Fitness Michigan Group for a little over 2 years, and I joined November of 2019. And one of the first things I asked the new, company I was working for is, where's the trade organization? Because I've, worked for a shopping center REIT for 32 years prior and was very involved in the trade organization. So I was kind of surprised that Michigan didn't have one. And IHRSA existed, but Planet Fitness was not a very active member of IHRSA at that time. So when COVID hit, I kind of walked down the hall and I said, this is kind of why you need a trade organization. And, Brian Reef, who is one of the two partners that owns Planet Fitness Michigan Group, reached out to several of his peers, in the Michigan marketplace, and decided that we should actually form the Michigan Fitness Club Association. One of the things that was very instrumental in helping that happen as quickly as it did and allowed us to be as successful as we are is that I had lobbying contacts from my former life. And so we immediately hired PAA associates out of Lansing as our lobbyists. And Jim Ryan, our primary contact, helped guide us to formation. So we went from an idea, in March, April of 2020 to, working with, the governor's office over a lot of issues during COVID-19. But that's when we got started and why.
That's so interesting. And Ed, what are some of those certain state issues that the MFCA first championed for?
Well, when we first got formed, our biggest issue, first and foremost, was how do we get reopened, right? Because, the 2-week pause in Michigan actually turned into a 6-month lockdown. And even when we were allowed to reopen in September of 2020, we were only allowed to reopen at 25% capacity and with a mask mandate. And there's more gyrations to that, but it was pretty strict. So the first thing we did was we got ourselves involved in the work group that was establishing the reopening protocols in the state of Michigan. Planet Fitness itself had put together a 90-page reopening protocol booklet for the franchise, which we shared with the state, and 3 board members representing 3 different brands participated in the work group to establish the reopening protocols. We, unfortunately, but we had to do a boot camp at the Capitol to raise a little media awareness of our issue. So advocacy in many forms is what we did and are still doing. But getting reopened was our first priority. Getting the restrictions lifted was the second priority. And, today the advocacy is taking the form of getting grant relief. And if you'd like, I can go into that in a little more detail.
I would love for you to go into that.
Okay. So you can imagine, having been shut for 6 months, Michigan lost, like a lot of the country did, its health and fitness, industry businesses. We had approximately 1,100 businesses going into the pandemic, and today we're at about 700 in the state of Michigan. So, we've lost, a third of our members, and we have I don't know what the exact percentage is, but a number who are just holding on by the skin of their teeth. And even if you were fortunate enough to negotiate rent deferrals and deferrals on your bank loans, et cetera, all that still has to be paid back, right? And in Michigan, where not only were we shut down with one of 3 states, the longest period of time with the most severe restrictions, we also had a lot of negative messaging about the health, the safety of our facilities. And we spent thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, per club to upgrade our HVAC units, install all the cleaning protocols, the signage. We called it social fitnessing versus social distancing, but all of the protocols that need to be put into place to get reopened. The grants that we're working on now is trying to get relief for that amount of time. What I came up with originally was a suggestion, since we're not an employee heavy industry, we're a fixed cost expense heavy industry. So being shut for 6 months, we said, what is the average cost per month for the gym, for their rent, their common area maintenance, their insurance, their taxes, multiply that by 6 months, and we came up with a number of an ask for about $90 million. Because of the COVID relief money from the federal government and the American Recovery Plan money, the state has billions of dollars. So we have been working on, and we were successful so far, Senate Bill 85 in Michigan is a bill that allows you to recoup the property taxes that were paid during that time frame. And so when our initial ask was for, again, rent, common area maintenance, insurance, taxes, we were able to get ourselves included in Senate Bill 85. So in that program actually opens March 1st of this year. You have to apply by April 1st, and then they're going to pay it out by July. So the clubs will be able to get reimbursed for their property taxes that they paid. We just recently, the House Bill 5524, is a bill that, again, these are larger bills that we are a part of. But we specifically, through having a day at the Capitol, where we met with all the members of the Appropriations Committee, both on the Senate and House side, through our lobbyists, being active by doing Zoom calls with various House members and Senate members. This new bill, HB 5524, is a grant that will allow us to, per location, get up to $250,000. And again, there's a formula. But basically, again, it's to reimburse us for those fixed costs that we incurred during the time we were shut. So we have two, one already passed, signed by the governor, law. The other one passed the House, in the Senate, on its way, hopefully, to becoming law. We may not get the full, what is currently $53 million in the House bill, but we should get something. So advocating for grant relief at the state level has been very important. And we've also been involved at the federal level trying to get the employee retention tax credit reinstalled for Q4 2021, because a lot of businesses had planned on that, and some had actually even taken it and now had to reimburse it. So advocacy, state and federal level, is our current focus. And we've also in the background still been kind of working on our future, which I can go into next if you would like.
Wow, I think you have answered the question why someone would want to be involved with the MFCA. Oh my goodness. That was my next question, Ed. What this association, you have done the legwork to get it organized. It exists. It is definitely fighting for the state of Michigan and at the federal level as well. So yes, in your opinion, what is your vision for the future state of MFCA? Hopefully we'll be able to say, if COVID is not here, what will this association be doing for the fitness industry in Michigan?
One of our campaigns right now is a campaign called Michigan Moves. And we are going to have the month of May, we're getting a resolution read into the state that May will be Michigan Moves Month to coincide with May being National Health Month, okay? And so the Michigan Moves campaign is trying to, again, promote the fact that health and wellness are essential, that having a gym membership and going to the gym is not a luxury. It is not a recreational activity, although it can be, a form of recreation. It's part of your well-being, right? It's your mental health, your physical health. For most people, there's a spiritual side to it as well. But getting the public to understand that being involved in a fitness facility provides you community, support, physical exercise, mental well-being, and you can do it at any price point, and you can do it, if you're a bodybuilder to, an aspirational fitness person to someone who likes yoga or Pilates or rowing or something of that nature. We are promoting the industry for the future, and we're working with the health organizations, the health insurance organizations, trying to allow HSA and FSA dollars to be allowed to help pay for health club memberships. Or, if you have an active health club membership, get a discount on your insurance premiums. So those are two initiatives that we're currently working on. We offer webinars. You have podcasts, we have webinars, and our webinars have covered everything from what is advocacy, how can we help you with your protocols during, COVID? How do we help in this day and age hiring people, which is, a challenge for a lot of businesses. So our webinars try and cover the gamut from operations to advocacy, because the MFCA really is the two different pieces. We have started an alliance with SBAM, which is the Small Business Association of Michigan, because the Small Business Association of Michigan, if you are an independent business owner and you need health insurance for yourself or your employees, that's an avenue where you can get it. And so that comes with being a member of MFCAs. There's not an additional cost. So we're doing affiliations that provide benefits to the businesses. We're aligning ourselves with some vendors so that if you're an MFCA member, you get vendor discounts if you buy something from them. We're planning our first annual conference because we formed a medical advisory board, and the medical advisory board is helping us kind of fine-tune our message so that we are recognized as part of the health and fitness industry, not just the gym industry. So we're active on a lot of fronts.
That is awesome. I love to hear all that. And, Ed, what would you say to an owner or operator in Michigan specifically if they're on the fence about joining your state association?
I would tell them that A, there is strength in numbers. B, we learned our lesson by not having an association in March of 2020. And I think that if you looked at our website and you're listening to this podcast, we have done a lot in 2 years. And we are out there fighting for you every day. And, I don't mind doing this for other people. But, if you are a direct beneficiary at some level, I would like to think you would like to participate, help out, and give back.
On the coattails of that answer, Ed, what is the time commitment? I'm assuming you're taking donations, there's financial responsibilities too, but what else can someone expect to give to the MFCA for all that you're doing for them in return?
Yeah. The time commitment is what they want it to be. They can certainly, they'll receive our newsletters, they can participate in the webinars. We do an annual Cult for a Cure. It's a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. They can participate philanthropically with us. They can be part of our messaging to, Lansing, our capital, in terms of the advocacy. We would ask them to send emails and potentially make phone calls if that's something they're comfortable with. There is board membership if they would like to get on the board. We do have a due structure. It is a nominal, due structure based on the sales volume of your club. And all this information is on our website. So mfcafit.org.
mfcafit.org. Awesome, Ed. Well, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge on the MFCA with our FBP family. We so appreciate you and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Now, FBP family, I know we only featured 2 U.S. state alliances today. However, There are 18 state alliances currently, and I got these resources from IHRSA.org, so definitely please go there. I'm going to list them off for you. If you hear your state alliance and want to be part of it, again, please go to IHRSA.org, where you can find the contact information for the state alliance leaders. The following state alliances currently are Arizona Fitness Alliance, California Fitness Alliance, Colorado Fitness Coalition, Connecticut Fitness Alliance Corp., DC Fitness Alliance, Illinois Fitness Alliance, Louisiana Health and Fitness Alliance, Maine Fitness Coalition, Maryland Coalition of Health and Wellness Centers, Michigan Fitness Club Association, Nevada Fitness Alliance, New Hampshire Health, Fitness and Sports Alliance, New Jersey Fitness Alliance, New Mexico Fitness Colleagues, New York State Fitness Alliance, Oregon Health and Fitness Alliance, Pennsylvania Fitness Alliance, South Carolina Health and Fitness Association, and Washington Fitness Alliance. Thank you all so much for listening to the value proposition for fitness industry alliances. I hope you learned so much today, and I hope that your next course of action is to call up your state alliances and get involved or start one of your own if your state does not currently have one. Tune in Friday, March 18th for our next value proposition episode. And to show we walk the talk at the Fitness Business Podcast, all the resources and websites for today's show can be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, adding value to our FBP family. Until next month, what you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. See you next month, FBP family.